I'd like to give you some tips for the Chapter 9 assignment. And we finally made it to Chapter 9. Chapter 9 is the last assignment we're going to work on in the textbook. And this is the last of the weekly assignments from the textbook that you'll be working on. And the topic is forms, HTML forms. I've alluded to Chapter 9 a few times because in the final project instructions I keep reminding you that you have to include a form and that we would finally look at them in Chapter 9. So now is the time to look at forms and to learn how to do them. Forms have two parts, and the first part of a form is the thing that you see on the web page, the little text boxes that you can type into, the check boxes that you can put your mouse in and make a check mark, all of that stuff. So that's one part of the form. That gets coded using HTML elements. The other part of the form is a script, or it might be actually a little easier to understand if I said it was a little application that takes the information that has been sent to it and does something with it. So it might be searching a database, it might be signing you up for a newsletter, it might be sending you an email with answers in it, or something like that. So this isn't a scripting or a programming class, so we're going to be using a script or a little application that the textbook author has written. And the location of that is given on page 382. It's a URL, and that will be included in your form tag. A link to it will be included in the form tag so that the web browser knows that this is the place, the location to send the information off to be processed that I've typed in or you have typed in. This URL is also going to be used in your final project because, as I said, you have to have a form in your final project and it does have to work. So you'll be using this URL, form URL, from page 382 a couple of times at least. This is the week when you'll be creating the fourth and final page in your case study. For the Java Jam, it is the jobs page. For the Fish Creek Animal Hospital and also for Prime Properties, it's the contact page. And for Pacific Trails Resort, it's a reservation page. So you finally get a complete website for your case study, and it will feel good, I'm sure. There is, for each one of the case studies, a special application or script to use with that. So you'll find a different URL in the instructions, in the case study instructions that I want you to use. One last thing I wanted to say is that this, one of the things that the textbook author does is she's introduced different ways of laying out a form and adding styling rules to it. And so she starts off using a table, I think it is. But I don't really want you to learn that, because you just have to unlearn it. I want you to use CSS. So in the process of completing the assignments, there are going to be 3 different tasks in this assignment. You will be using CSS only to lay out, position, and also format and style your form pages. So I think that's about it. Forms are interesting. There's a lot of different kind of code. I'm not going to make you use a lot of it. I guess the last thing I should say is that HTML5 has created some new, actually very interesting form elements that can be used. However, I don't think we have enough time to cover them in this class this quarter. So if you'd like to look through them at the end of Chapter 9, feel free to do that. I think they're very, very interesting, but I'm not going to require that you do it because I think I've worked you hard enough, frankly. So again, the last assignment, we're getting close to the end of the quarter. Learn this form stuff well so that you can do it in your final project and have fun with it. It makes you feel kind of like you've really joined the big leagues by being able to create a form.